you, Gil. As mentioned, my name is Kevin Miller. Dennis Drucker was my uncle. Gil, first, thank you very much. You're a great friend of Dennis. I've been a great friend to our family, quite frankly. And Dennis would never have admitted it, but in the early 90s, mid-90s, he watched all your Packers games. He never second-guessed you whatsoever, I promise. But I know that wasn't a tough thing to do, and he would have wanted you to know how much he appreciated his friendship. You were also a hero to my Uncle Jim for a different reason. 1994, you guys were playing in the playoffs against the Lions. You were up 16-10, time was running out. Jim had the Lions +5. He said, you know, if we could get Gil to win, but the Lions to cover, this would be great. And you actually had Craig Hentrich run out of the back of the end zone, and you guys ended up winning 16-12. And we were all downstairs. I was 14 years old. I had half of Jim's action. It was more money I've ever seen. It meant a lot more to our family than you even realize. So thank you. Another quick special thank you, Bob Drucker, Dennis's first cousin. I know Bob's had a lot to do with us being here today. I know you worked with Gil and some of the other committee members, so this is a special day for our family, so thank you for helping set this up. Last quick thank you, and then I have a couple quick stories. I promise to be quick. To the committee, thank you. To the other honorees, congratulations. Stephanie, thank you for putting this on. I think it's great that the legacy continues. And I hope everybody else is having as special a time as our family, because it's a lot of fun to be able to come back and talk about Dennis. I'm going to step over here because I don't like leaning over there. There was a couple things that if Dennis were here, I don't really have big shoes to fill, because I don't know that we could have ever convinced him to come to something like this. He wasn't much for crowds. He wasn't much for public speaking. He was a pretty shy guy, and he certainly would not have talked about himself. If you were here, I know that there's two specific things that he would do. One, he would talk about his family. He had great parents. He loved his mom and dad. They loved him, and they had a very special relationship. His immediate family, my mom, Marion Miller, his older brother, Jim, he was really the hero of our family from an athletic standpoint. There were many nights around the table where they talked about golf and football and the day's game and those kinds of things. And so I know he would have talked about his family and been thankful to them. In addition, he would have talked about you guys, his teammates, his old teammates. He loved to talk and deflect. Anytime people that I met would say, you know, your uncle was a great football player, he would say, oh, no, Haskell was amazing, Timmy Tierney, those guys were the real tough ones, they were the best players. So he would have been very thankful and would have pointed out how important his teammates were to him. When we were all growing up, you know, for us, we heard about Dennis being this great football player, and, you know, the game has changed a lot. But for us, he was Uncle Denny, and he was somebody who was more of this kind of soft, lovable character, and it was a little bit hard to imagine that he was such a tough football player. And in some ways, I'm not sure I really believed it until when I was 13 years old. I was out here visiting, and we were up. I saw it, it's still here last night, the Nation's Burger Pie joint right up here. We went up to pick up a burger. Dennis loved their apple pie. He had a big sweet tooth, more than he would admit. And he's walking out the door, and he's got this pie in his hand, and this 19, 20-year-old big kid comes whizzing by, and he almost knocks Dennis down. He kind of, you know, stumbles a little bit. Dennis starts cussing at him, and I'm like, oh, okay, let's get in the car. So we get in the car, and I said, I'm not so sure you really wanted to take that guy on. And he said, let me tell you something, that little punk SOB's got nothing for me. That was the first instance that I thought, okay, you know, he's maybe a little tougher than I give him credit for. The other thing that I think made him a great player were the strength of his hands. Anybody who had ever shaken his hand, anybody who was the victim of him tickling you or grabbing your shoulder, he could send you down to the ground. Without exaggeration, I think every 5 or 6 rounds of golf that he played, he would actually rip the shoelaces out of his shoes because his hands were so strong, and he didn't realize how strong he was. And I know as a linebacker, you have to use your hands, and that's one of the reasons why he was the player that he was. The last thing, and Gil touched on this, was his instinct. And I know that served him well on the football field. He had incredible instinct. And for us, the instinct that we saw off the field as Uncle Denny was really the most amazing part. He had a way about him. He could make people feel very special. Everybody who was in his presence felt special. And for me, I'm lucky to be up here because any one of our family members could come up and share these same type of stories, but the instinct that he had with people to make you feel special. Everybody in their life should have an Uncle Denny. That's how special he was. So thank you for giving me a few minutes, and again, congratulations to all of you.